Good morning, and thank you, PK, and all the rest of the organization to have me back here in New York. So the title that I was given was, Are all drug-coated balloons created equal, or does data favor one versus the other? And I think we can stop or more or less here, because drug-coated balloons are not created equal. We have paclitaxel-coated and limus-coated, and I just want to explain a little bit the differences, and then I will continue with the data on mainly the paclitaxel. So the cell cycle is shown here, and you can see where the limus is actually acting. It's cytostatic. It inhibits the cell cycle progression from the G1 to the S phase, while the paclitaxel is cytotoxic and acts on the progression of intimal hyperplasia. It restrains the cell division completely, and therefore the mode of action is completely different. And also there are some differences in pharmacological properties that make it more difficult for limus drugs to be used on a PTA balloon, but that problem has been solved now. Now back to the question again, because there's limited or no randomized controlled data, I will focus now on what is available in the US, the paclitaxel-coated balloons. And also these are not created equal. There are differences in drug content and coating. The paclitaxel formulation is different, crystalline versus amorphous versus mixed or even nanoparticles. There are differences in drug concentration. The excipient, the carrier, the matrix of the drug is different in most of the balloons. And then there are differences in available data, long-term RCT data, all-comer studies, head-to-head studies, and sub-analysis. And are there differences in safety and efficacy outcomes? And we'll focus on the 4 balloons that are available in the US. In Europe, you can see we have much more that is currently available, but I will focus on the 4 that are available at this part of the Atlantic Ocean. So what do the data tell us? We have some meta-analysis, we have RCTs comparing DCB versus PTA, and then we have one RCT comparing a drug-coated balloon versus another drug-coated balloon. And if you look at all the meta-analysis, you can see that there are outcomes on binary restenosis that favor DCB. Here's one of the studies from 2019, from 2016, and they all indicate more or less the same. PTX-coated balloons are doing a good job in the SFA, although there are some differences you can already see from this forest plot between the different balloons. This is a study from Katsanos, when he still believed in PTX, obviously in 2016. And also here you can see that there was a favorable outcome comparing the different balloons overall. We have to look, however, a little bit more specifically to the specific balloons that are on the market in order to answer the question, are they equal or not? And this is the data of the Lutonix DCB study showing a good outcome at 12 months, the Levant 2 study. Mean lesion length of 6 centimeters, provisional stent rate lower in the DCB arm, but you can see that there is a benefit in the 12-month primary patency. However, the 2-year data have never been published, have been presented, but didn't show any difference anymore. Then one of the other balloons that is available on the market, the Impact Admiral, safety and effectiveness data have been published now up until 5 years. Slightly longer lesion length, similar provisional stent rates, and you can see that there is a large delta at 12 months that slowly goes down if you follow the patients up until 3 years, but there's still a significant difference in primary patency at 3 years. And then the data at 5 years is only involving the clinical driven TLR rates, and also here there's still a significant difference between the 2 arms. The Stellarex DCB, again, lesion length of around 8 centimeters, similar provisional stent rates. Also here a good outcome at 12 months, as you can see also at the right-hand side, lasting up until 3 years, looking at primary patency. But then at 4-year freedom from clinical-driven TLR in the Eliminate pivotal trial did not show any statistically significant difference anymore. The last balloon that is available and has become available on the US market, 3-year data were recently presented at Link, and you can see that there is a difference, but this is not statistically significant, although the results were good at 1-year follow-up. And you can also see that the provisional stent rate in the DCB arm, probably because people are preparing those a little bit better, is slightly lower. Again, primary patency at 1 year is pretty good. Therefore, it's also important to perform really head-to-head trials, and this is the first trial that did so, the COMPARE trial. Longer lesion length, 12 centimeters, that is already much more than in most of the IDE trials. You can see that the calcification grade was high in over 50% of the patients. Provisional stent rate higher, not surprisingly, because of the longer lesion length. And the 12-month primary analysis endpoint was met. There was no difference. The ranger was non-inferior to the impact with a 10% non-inferiority margin. You can also see that the outcomes then at 2 years regarding the clinical driven TLR rates are not statistically significant. To conclude, not all PTX DCBs are created equal from a structural point of view, and although in some cases the short-term outcomes are similar, the differences in outcome may become apparent only in the long term, and therefore it's actually something that we already knew. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. Thank you.